It's March 29th, 1987 at the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, and WrestleMania 3 is electrifying an audience of over 78,000 fans, with millions more watching around the world. The spotlight is fixed on the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Macho Man Randy Savage, and his opponent Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. As Savage stands in the ring, in his signature flamboyant attire, the crowd's anticipation reaches a fever pitch. In this moment, Randy Savage wasn't just a wrestler, he was a phenomenon. Draped in striking robes, his head adorned with a glittering bandana, and his trademark sunglasses masking his intense gaze, Savage embodied the spectacle of professional wrestling. His powerful presence, coupled with his athletic prowess, made him an iconic figure in the ring. That gravelly voice, with its distinct cadence and intensity, became as legendary as his matches.
I am the cream. I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop!
Two of his favorite phrases even transcended wrestling and found their way into popular culture.
Ooh, yeah, dig it.
Half of those Slim Jim.
But beneath all of the success and accolades, there was a darker side hidden from the public eye, marked by substance abuse, obsessive controlling behavior, and unsettling episodes of violence. To truly understand the legend, we must journey back to the beginnings of Randy Mario Poffo, born on November 15, 1952 in Columbus, Ohio. The son of Angelo Poffo, a professional wrestler himself, young Randy was exposed to the world of wrestling from an early age. However, his first foray into sports was through baseball. Randy was signed by the St. Louis Cardinals as a catcher straight out of high school. He started his professional baseball career in the minor leagues, where he transitioned to playing primarily as an outfielder within the Cardinals and later the Cincinnati Reds farm systems. To build strength in his hands and improve his swing mechanics, Savage employed an unconventional training method, repeatedly striking a hanging car tire with a bat. Unfortunately, a collision at home plate resulted in a serious injury to his right shoulder. Demonstrating remarkable adaptability, he taught himself to throw with his left arm to continue playing, reportedly chucking a ball against the wall 1,000 times a day. This was in addition to his daily regimen of 1,000 sit-ups. Randy's final season in baseball was in 1974 with the Class A Tampa Tarpons of the Reds organization. Over 4 seasons, he played 289 games, achieving a batting average of 254, hitting 16 home runs, and accumulating 129 runs batted in. Despite his promising baseball career, Randy's destiny lay within the squared circle. In the early 1970s, he adopted the ring name Randy Savage at the suggestion of his longtime friend and trainer, Terry "The Goose" Stevens. His first match was against Midwest Territory wrestler Golden Boy Paul Christie. This is when Savage began to embrace his wild new persona, and according to wrestler Dutch Mantel, whenever you saw Savage, morning, noon, or night, he was always in full-blown, wide-open Macho Man mode. For the most part, Savage limited his crazy behavior to the wrestling arena, but there were occasions when it spilled over into real life. In 1978, the Tennessean recounted an incident where Savage was involved in a messy brawl with a newlywed at a Waffle House near Nashville. Conflicting reports emerged regarding who instigated the fight, but it culminated in Savage being subjected to mace, a billy club, and a police dog bite due to his non-cooperation. In these early days, Savage worked with his father and brother, wrestling in various regions including Michigan, the Carolinas, and Georgia. After some time, Randy's father felt his sons were not receiving the recognition they deserved, prompting him to start a new promotion called International Championship Wrestling. But following the disbandment of ICW, Savage entered the Memphis wrestling scene, joining Jerry Lawler's Continental Wrestling Association. In Memphis, Savage had a notable feud with Lawler over the AWA Southern Heavyweight Championship. He also teamed up with his brother Lanny to take on the Rock and Roll Express. This rivalry featured a dramatic match on June 25, 1984 in Memphis, where in a storyline twist, Savage injured Ricky Morton by pile-driving him through the timekeeper's table, leading to the Express winning by disqualification. Later in 1984, Savage teamed up with Lawler against Jimmy Hart's first family alliance. However, in early 1985, he turned on Lawler once again, resuming their intense feud over the title. This conflict culminated in a loser-leaves-town match on June 7, 1985 in Memphis, where Lawler emerged victorious, forcing Savage to leave the territory. In June 1985, Randy Savage made a monumental decision by signing with Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation. His debut on the July 6th episode of Championship Wrestling was nothing short of electrifying, as he effortlessly dispatched Aldo Marino. Heralded as the top free agent in pro wrestling, Savage's arrival sent shockwaves through the industry. His initial appearances on Tuesday Night Titans were a spectacle in themselves, as a cadre of the most illustrious managers, including Jimmy Hart, Mr. Fuji, Johnny Valiant, and classy Freddie Blassie, all vied for the honor of managing him. In a dramatic twist that would define his early persona, Savage spurned their advances and introduced the world to Miss Elizabeth as his manager. His character, a volatile and egomaniacal bully, was notorious for mistreating Miss Elizabeth and menacing anyone who dared to even glance in her direction.
I didn't tell you to talk, did I? Did I say that you were going to say anything here? Don't you know that the spotlight is on me, the Macho Man Randy Savage, and you are just an accessory that I don't even need?
Ironically, this on-screen performance in many ways mirrored their real-life relationship, adding a layer of authenticity that fans found irresistible. Yet Savage's intense possessiveness of Elizabeth made him extremely difficult to work with, ultimately leading to the downfall of his friendship with Hulk Hogan. Speaking with Sports Illustrated, Hogan said, "If you even looked at Elizabeth the wrong way, then holy shit, Randy would freak out." Elizabeth's grace and poise contrasted beautifully with Savage's intensity, creating one of wrestling's most beloved partnerships. But behind the scenes, the pressures of fame and the demands of the wrestling industry took a toll on their marriage, and in 1992, just months after their on-screen wedding, Elizabeth and Savage quietly divorced. But let's rewind back to March 1988. Macho Man Randy Savage had reached the pinnacle of the WWF by winning the world title at WrestleMania. Yet just weeks before this achievement, it was reported that Savage was being sued for allegedly assaulting a fan. Back in May 1986, David Pichelle said he spotted and approached Savage after a wrestling event to ask for an autograph, but had suffered a fractured back and bruised ribs when Savage slammed him to the ground. Savage denied the severity of the incident, claiming he had merely pushed Pichelle, and they settled out of court. It's important to note that at this time in 1986, Savage's persona was that of a ruthless WWF villain, and according to Kurt Angle, Savage never broke character, leading Angle to believe Savage started thinking he was the Macho Man in real life. Aside from this incident, there's other reports that Savage held a penchant for, shall we say, extracurricular activities. According to WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, there was one time when he, Dick Slater, and Savage went to purchase drugs in the West End of Atlanta. The situation escalated dramatically when Savage and Slater decided to overpower the dealer, putting him in a sleeper hold and then proceeding to steal all of his cocaine and marijuana. There were also real conflicts that overshadowed the scripted narratives. According to Mean Gene Okerlund, Savage was a loose cannon who made a lot of wrestlers uneasy. This included Andre the Giant, who hated Savage's use of baby oil, as this made Savage difficult to grab hold of in the ring.
Andre looked up at him, playing cards, go, "No baby oil, get out! Get out, no baby oil!"
Andre also reportedly detested Savage's use of anabolic steroids. By 1994, Randy Savage was transitioning more into an announcer role. Yet, at just over 40 years old, he still felt capable of competing in the ring. According to his brother Lanny, Savage believed he never had a match as good as the one with Steamboat at WrestleMania 3, yet he thought he could recreate that same magic with Shawn Michaels. Savage proposed a 2-year program, culminating in a WrestleMania match with Michaels, where he would lose, retire, and return to announcing. However, this idea was rejected by Vince McMahon as the Federation was focusing on a youth movement. This left Savage seemingly no choice but to make the high-profile move to World Championship Wrestling, where he continued to be a major draw. His feuds with WCW's top stars, including Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, kept him in the spotlight. Savage's presence in WCW helped the promotion compete against the WWF during the infamous Monday Night Wars. a period of intense competition between the two wrestling giants. But by 1999, Savage's appearances were becoming more and more sporadic. Macho Man's last wrestling appearance was in late 2004, during the early days of TNA. His surprise entrance at the first ever Victory Road pay-per-view, where he confronted Jeff Jarrett, is one of the era's most memorable moments. But his return was short-lived. He participated in a 6-man tag match at Turning Point, then left the company after a month due to booking disagreements. Agent Bill Behrens described Randy Savage as difficult to deal with and frequently intoxicated. Apparently, a few connected individuals had a trailer that became a gathering spot for dysfunctional stars who spent their time drinking. Randy was one of the guys that did that, Behrens recalled. So his run was bad all the way around. It made it clear that there wasn't going to be a good final run for Randy Savage in wrestling. Outside the ring, a little-known fact is that Savage actually released a rap album titled Be a Man in 2003.
Be a man, Hogan. Come on, don't be a chump. I never thought help would go wild like a pump. Be a man, Hogan.
Savage was also known for his philanthropy, particularly his work with underprivileged children. His relationship with Miss Elizabeth, though strained, was a significant part of his life. Their divorce in 1992 marked the end of an era, yet their legacy as wrestling's first couple endures. Tragically, Elizabeth passed away in 2003, a loss that deeply affected Savage. And then, in March of 2010, Savage's father, Angelo, also passed away. Savage said of his father, "He has always been my hero and my mentor, and the priceless gifts he gave I will have and cherish forever." Just 2 months later, on May 10th, Savage was remarried, a milestone his father sadly missed. His new marriage was to Barbara Lynn Payne, rekindling a romance that had begun in the early 1970s. On the surface, the future looked bright for Savage's golden years. Yet danger lurked just around the corner. Just over a year later, on May 20th, 2011, Savage woke up feeling sick. His wife Lynn suggested they go to Perkins for breakfast, hoping food would help him. Yet when Savage still didn't feel better, Lynn offered to drive home, but he refused. On the way back, he abruptly told her, "I think I'm going to pass out," before suddenly losing consciousness. His foot hit the accelerator, sending the Jeep Wrangler into oncoming traffic. Lynn managed to steer the SUV away and they crashed into a tree. She sustained minor injuries. But Savage was declared dead later that day at age 58. An autopsy conducted by the medical examiner's office revealed that Savage had an enlarged heart and advanced coronary artery disease, which had caused a sudden heart attack. The toxicology report indicated the presence of a prescription painkiller and a small amount of alcohol in his system. Savage had never been treated for heart problems, and there was no indication that he was aware of his condition. The cause of death was officially determined to be atherosclerotic heart disease, but Savage's alleged use of steroids casts a significant shadow over this conclusion. In the wrestling industry, heart disease linked to drug use has tragically ended the lives of many at a young age. While it cannot be definitively stated that Savage's death was directly caused by this, the association is difficult to ignore. Savage was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015. A recognition of his immense contributions to the sports entertainment industry. Today, he is remembered not only as a phenomenal wrestler, but as a cultural icon whose influence transcends the world of professional wrestling.
I've soared with the eagles and I've slithered with the snakes and I've been everywhere in between. And I'm going to tell you something right now. There's one guarantee in life, and that there are no guarantees, yeah. And understand this. Yeah. Nobody likes a quitter. Nobody said life was easy, so if you get knocked down, take the standing 8 count, get back up, and fight again. And you're a macho maniac. Dig it.